So the NBA offseason is pretty much over at the moment. All the big free agency signings have been completed. Kyle Lowry to Miami, Kawhi back to the Clippers, DeRozan to the Bulls, etc. We know how the draft is played out. Now there is a possibility that there could be a Ben Simmons trade between now and the season starting, or a Pascal Siakam trade. I could definitely see that happening. But as of now, we kind of know how each roster is constructed at the moment, watching some Summer League and how it's been going on. So we are going to be doing a tier list today of me ranking every NBA team going into next year's season. So we have 6 tiers. Finals contenders, there's pretty much going to be like 4 teams in there, maybe even 3. We have can make the conference finals. Like, okay, I can see them winning a playoff series and maybe winning another one. 100% making the playoffs is like definitely making it. They're probably going to be like a 1 to a 6 seed, but I know they're making it, but I don't think that they can make it to the conference finals. Play in tournament. So yeah, I think you'll be maybe a borderline playoff team, like 7 or 8, but you can also be 9 or 10. Chance of making the play-in. So like, okay, you might make it, you might not. You're probably going to be like the 12th seed, the 11th seed, but you might be a half a game and a half out of that 10 seed, and then 100% not making the playoffs. Like, you have no shot, or I just don't think you have any shot of making the playoffs next year. And if you guys enjoyed these tier list videos, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let's see if we can get 1,500 likes for the next one to come out. And if you have any other ideas on what tier list you want to see, let me know down below. Remember, this is just my opinion, not the right answer. This is just a subjective list, so it's everybody would have a different list. If we all had the same list and you agreed with mine 100%, that'd be weird. So let me know what you disagree with down below. So we can start off with how the order is on this tier list. So we have the 76ers first. Ooh. All right, I think the Sixers, because I do plan on them being the only team here that's probably going to make a major trade. I mean, like, yes, they could hypothetically do a trade with Portland for CJ McCollum and Ben Simmons, but that will look a lot different for Portland. But for now, the Sixers, I just don't see Ben Simmons coming back, and I think they can make it to the conference finals. I think 1,000% they're making the playoffs. People are saying like they're the 4 seed going into next year. No, I think that they could be a top 3 seed still. They were the 1 seed last year, and they might even get better with Ben Simmons getting traded. So, and yeah, they replaced Dwight Howard with Andre Drummond. So I think, yeah, I wouldn't put them in finals contenders, but I think they could definitely make it to the conference finals next year, Ben Simmons or not. Next up, we have the Washington Wizards. I think I might throw them there to start this off. Chance of making the play-in tournament. I wouldn't say that they're a definite top 10 seed, but they might be. I got to figure out between like them, Indiana, Boston, New York, Chicago, and Toronto, like who's not making it. So right now I'm going to have Washington, but I think I might, you know what? I actually think I'm going to put them in the play-in tournament. I think they'll get like the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference because you also have like Charlotte in there as well. Atlanta, I think they're 100% making the playoffs. I guess I should no, I don't think they're going to make it to the conference finals again. I think teams are going to run out of play on Trae Young a little bit. The foul calls and the way the NBA is changing, that's going to hurt Trae Young a little bit. They'll deal with some injuries. I mean, Gallo's getting older. I just think there's a more likely chance that they don't make the conference finals than they do. And hey, maybe I'm being a Hawks hater because they made it last year and they beat the Sixers. So why am I putting the Sixers there? Because on paper, the Sixers are a better team. So that's why I'm putting them there. And I expect them to make a Ben Simmons trade. But for the Hawks, like I said, they're going to have to face up against Brooklyn, Miami, or Milwaukee in round 2. And I just don't see the Hawks beating one of those 3 teams. Maybe if they get lucky and they face Philly again, and that's how it turns out, like the Sixers are the 2 seed, they're the 3 seed, or the Sixers are, I don't know, something turns out like that, or Sixers maybe become the 1 seed again, and then they're 4, and they can beat them. Yeah, definitely, 100%. I just think I would take my chances with Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Miami going further than the Atlanta Hawks. Cleveland Cavaliers, oof. Okay, I'm going to say they have a chance at making the play-in. I won't say they're 100% not making the playoffs because they have a solid roster with Sexland, Okoro, Larry Nance, Jared Allen, number 3 pick Evan Mobley. We'll see what happens with Kevin Love. I think there's a slight chance they could surprise some people and be like the 10th or the 9th seed. I just don't think that there's a chance that they're definitely a play-in tournament team, or I wouldn't put them in that 100% chance of not making the playoffs. And I'm going to put Detroit in there. I think Detroit could surprise people and be like a 13th seed rather than the 15th or the 14th, but I just would bet my money that they don't make the playoffs rather than they do next year. And they have a fun roster. They got Hayes, Cade, Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey. I think one of the more underrated players on that team. I think they could be very fun next year. I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Next up, we have the Indiana Pacers. Ooh, I think they become a play-in tournament team. Honestly, yeah. I think they're a play-in tournament team. I won't say they're 100% making the playoffs, but they're going to be good next year. They got Chris Duarte, who's going to help them out immediately. Karis LeVert, TJ Warren, they're going to be healthy to start the year. They still have Miles Turner, 2-time straight All-Star in Domantas Sabonis. Malcolm Brogdon's still really good. They got better at head coach with Rick Carlisle. They brought back TJ McConnell. I think the Pacers are definitely making the the playoffs, but they could be like the 7th or the 8th seed. That's why I'm putting them in the play-in tournament, because I don't think they get a top 6 seed. I don't know, though. I might put them ahead of Chicago. I feel like Indiana, I mean, everybody always underrates Indiana because they're never flashy. They're not a big market. They don't have any, like, superstar on their team. But I think that they're going to be very good next year. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, it's the Pacers. They always make the playoffs. Last year was just a bad year for them. Milwaukee Bucks, they won the NBA championship. And they have arguably, they have a top 3 player in the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And they really didn't get drastically worse in the offseason. They're finals contenders. Toronto, I think I'm going to put them in chances of making the play-in tournament. There's a chance, right? If Fred VanVleet plays like an all-star, if Pascal Siakam doesn't get traded, OG Anunoby takes a step, Scotty Barnes is an immediate impact right away, Ken Burch can hold his own, yeah, they can make the play-in tournament. And I don't know. I'm going to say I'll give them a chance, but I think that they're going to be hovering around that 10th to like 13th seed this year. Dallas Mavericks, I think there's a 100% chance they're making the playoffs. As long as you have Luka, you're making the playoffs, in my opinion, at this point of his career. So yeah, I'm going to say that the Dallas Mavericks are going to be right like around the 5th or the 6th seed, like Atlanta will be this year. Denver can make the conference finals or 100% making the playoffs. I don't know. Because Jamal Murray is going to be hurt for most of the year, so it could mess up their seeding, right? So imagine like they're the 7th seed. But I think Michael Porter Jr. could be a most improved candidate next year. I'm going to put them in that tier, but I might change it because the West is just absolutely loaded. Memphis, I'm not saying they're 100% chance of making the playoffs. No, the West is too loaded. Play-in tournament. They were the 8th seed last year, so I'll give them their respect this year. Minnesota, big chance of making the play-in. I wouldn't say there's a 100% chance they don't make it, but I think there's a chance if everybody stays healthy, which is a big if because Cat, Devo, they have their injuries. If Anthony Edwards can take a nice sophomore leap, if Landry Bolmaro could be good right away, same with Jaden McDaniels if he can take another leap. We will see if Taurean Prince could be a nice fit. Malik Beasley still contributing as a good 6th man. Then yeah, I think they could make it. Spurs, I don't think they can. I don't. I mean, I think we're going to see some fun, like, lineups out there with Primo, Keldon Johnson, and DeJounte Murray. Those two specifically could take a big jump. One of them could emerge as a budding star in this league, but that's a big F. And what if they don't? I don't think there's any shot to make the playoffs. The Utah Jazz are next. I think they can make it to the conference finals. I mean, they were the 1 seed last year. I would say they got worse this offseason, but I don't know if they got better. I mean, Jared Butler I loved, but they ended up losing, or they traded away Derek Favors. Conley's getting up there in age, but I mean, Mitchell could just continue to get better. We'll see what happens. We'll see if somebody can emerge as that number 2 guy. Hopefully, like Bojan and Conley, they're fully healthy, and Mitchell too in the playoffs. They could definitely make the conference finals. They could have last year if they stayed healthy, but unfortunately they didn't. Clippers. Ooh, I'm going to put them at 100% making the playoffs. I don't think they can make it to the it just depends because I don't know what's happening with Kawhi. I don't. Is he going to be back in February? Probably not. March? I don't know. April? Maybe. And then we're already in the playoffs and you're asking them to beat Kawhi Leonard after not playing for a full year. You know what? I don't think the Clippers make it to the conference finals next year. I think they're another year away when Kawhi gets another year under his belt. Phoenix, I think they can make it to the conference finals. I think they're like there in Utah. They're the reigning Western Conference champions, but they will have to go through the Lakers, which will be a little bit tougher. And if there was like a fully healthy Jazz team or fully healthy Clippers team, it would be tough. Sacramento, they're up next. I think there's a chance they make the play-in tournament. Yeah, I mean, they got a solid roster. They have De'Aaron Fox. They have Davion Mitchell, who's been great in the summer league. They have Tyrese Halliburton, who was a top 3 rookie last year. Buddy Hield, one of the best shooters in the league. Barnes is still a solid playmaking 3, and then we'll see if Marvin Bagley can stay healthy this year. They got Rashawn Holmes. They brought him back. They have a fun roster. I'm actually loving their guard rotation, like the Tyrese Halliburton, Davion Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox. I love that. I'm hoping to see Marvin Bagley be fully healthy this year and improve on the defensive side of the floor, but that, like, we're gonna have to wait and see. And I think there's a chance to make the play-in tournament, but the West is loaded, so it's not a gimme at all for them, or not 100%. The Knicks, I think play-in tournament is where they could end up. I think they could end up as like the 7th seed, like, or the 8th seed. If like you could say Indiana might be 6, they'd be 7, they'd be 8. I might move one of these teams because I can also throw Chicago, and I will throw in Boston in here, just kind of going quickly. But I'll go back to them just to kind of give them a full team rundown. But for the Knicks, they got better this offseason. They did. They lost Reggie Bullock, okay, but they brought back Nerlens Noel, Derrick Rose, and Alec Burks. Like, Noel was crucial to them in the late game stretch and somewhat in the playoffs. Derrick Rose was arguably their best player. Actually, he wasn't arguably. He was their best player in the playoffs. Alec Burks was a very consistent shooter throughout the regular season. Wasn't great in the playoffs. But they landed Evan Fournier. They brought him in. He's going to be fun. He's going to be a playmaker. He's a good shooter. They needed some scoring to take the load, some of the stress off of Julius Randle in the big minutes. And then for point guard, they brought in Kemba Walker. I mean, Kemba Walker, his D's might be shot, but hey, it's worth a shot. You could say that they got better at that position next year, and they have guys that can create their own shot. maybe kind of looking at that Atlanta mold or that Toronto mold when they won the championship a couple of years ago. You got Fournier, you got Burks, you got RJ, you got Randall, you got Kemba, you have D Rose, you have all these guys that could create their own shots, as well as Emmanuel Quickly. We'll see if Obi Toppin can be a little bit better this year, and then their rookie Quentin Grimes as well, and Mitch Robinson. We'll see if they can stay healthy. The Knicks are definitely a deep team. I think that they'll definitely be in the play-in tournament. The Pelicans, okay. The Pelicans are tough. I think that they have a chance of making the play-in tournament as well. I mean, I got to put a 9th or a 10th seed in there. So you know what? I think they're going to be in there. Yeah, they're talented. They got worse this offseason, in my opinion, going from Lonzo Ball to Devontae Graham. But I guess adding Valanciunas is nice. Not on the defensive end, but, you know, you could say he's better. I would say he's better than Steven Adams. They brought in Trey Murphy, who I think can make an immediate impact. We'll see if Ingram gets better, if Alexander Walker, Kyron Lewis, and obviously Zion Williamson will get better. I just don't know. It's going to be tough there in the Western Conference. Charlotte, see, I want to put them in the play-in tournament too, but then... yeah, they're going to be tough. I'm going to have to figure that out. I mean, like, LaMelo's going to get better. They brought in Kelly Oubre, which will be nice. We still don't know what's going on with Larry Marketing. Are they going to end up winning that sweepstakes? Like, we'll see. Terry Rozier still be really good for them. Yes, they lost Devontae Graham and Malik Monk. So, I don't know. I think I might put them in there. I'm definitely going to have to lower one of these teams. Houston. See, now, I don't think Houston makes the playoffs because the West is too loaded. But in the Eastern Conference, I think Houston could have a shot because the Houston are definitely the best team out of these three. I feel bad putting them in. Honestly, I might put them in there because there's a chance they could be the 10th seed because you got John Wall, Kevin Porter Jr., 2 point guards that are pretty freaking solid. At the 2, you got Jalen Green, Josh Christopher, Eric Gordon, not too bad. Over at the 3, you got KJ Martin, you have Jay Sean Tate, also very solid as well. At the 4, you got Christian Wood. And then at the 5, Alperen Şengün and Daniel Tice. They're a deep team. And there's probably somebody out there that I forgot and I didn't mention. But yeah, they're a deep team. I think the Rockets are going to be a little bit better than people are thinking this year. I might move them up a tier. I might move them back down if that tier is just too crowded. But I think they'll be better than San Antonio and better than like OKC. Miami, they could make it to the conference finals, definitely. I don't think that they're finals contenders, but there's a chance that they get lucky in the seeding, right? Not lucky, but it turns out in their favor, where Brooklyn and Milwaukee have to face each other in the second round. Then I was like, okay, yeah, Miami could win it. And I think Miami's good enough to beat Brooklyn or beat Milwaukee. Would I say they'd be favored in those series? Hell no, definitely not. They got swept by Milwaukee last year, but they got a lot better. We'll see how healthy Oladipo, hopefully. They brought in Kyle Lowry. They brought in PJ Tucker. We'll see if Tyler Hero can step up and bounce back this year. I think the Heat got better, and I think there's a chance that they could make it to the conference finals. The Boston Celtics, I mean, they're in this play-in tournament too, and what's going on with my mouse? Okay, there we go. But like I said, I'm going to have to move one of these 4 teams because, yeah, the play-in tournament's between 4. Who do I think out of these 4... Also Chicago. I mean, Boston, they added Dennis Schroeder, who will be good for them, definitely. But I wouldn't say they got a lot better. Like, the Knicks definitely got better, and the Bulls got better, and the Pacers got better. But I don't know if I would say, and I mean, for the Pacers, it's health. But I guess for the Celtics, Jaylen Brown got hurt at the end of the year. They're going to be in the play-in tournament. I'm going to have to move up one of these teams and down one of these teams. Because Chicago also got a lot better. They were one of these teams in the Eastern Conference that, they're probably up there with the Miami Heat. They got the most better this offseason. So, I mean, by adding Lonzo Ball, Caruso, and DeMar DeRozan, they're going to be solid. We'll see if they get a player in return for Larry Marketing. So I'm going to fix that tier. I'm just throwing them all in there for now. We got Brooklyn up here in finals contenders. They're the most talented team in the NBA, and they're going to be the finals favorites as they should. OKC, they're not making the playoffs. They're going to be bad, but hey, that's fine with them. They're going to want a top pick next year. Develop the Shays, the Terrence Manns, the Josh Giddys, the Lou Dort, Pokusevski, Darius Bazley, their young core entirely. Next up, we have the Golden State Warriors. I think they could make it to the conference finals if they are not on the same side as the Lakers, and then that they could possibly beat Phoenix or beat Utah or Dallas or Denver in round 2 100%. I'm just hoping we get 2019 Clay before the injury and he doesn't miss a beat. Portland, I think that they're going to be in the play-in tournament as the 7th or the 8th seed. Like, I could see them being 7, Memphis being 8, Clippers being 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll figure that out. Lakers, finals contenders, as long as they have a brand new finals contender. These are the top 2 teams in the league, and then you have the reigning conference champions. And then Orlando Magic, 100% not making the playoffs. They're going to be one of the bottom 4 teams this year. So I wanted to adjust this because I want to kind of go with the seeding. We have, I think if I'm going to say any of these 3 teams, Jazz, Suns, or Warriors to make in the finals that could beat the Lakers, I think I want to put the Warriors up there. I do, just because they have the best player out of any 3 of those teams in Steph Curry. Klay Thompson, big wild card coming back. Draymond, Wiseman, Wiggins, the cum bucket, Moses Moody. Like, they're gonna be deep next year. Jordan Poole. The Suns got better. The Jazz maybe got slightly worse, but nothing noticeable. So I think this is how I'm gonna have the top 4 and then the next 4 in, I would say. Yeah, like you got like these are your top 2 Eastern Conference teams, and then you have like 3 and 4, and these are your top 2 Western Conference teams. Maybe not in the regular season, but I think in the playoffs, and then these are your next 2, I would say. So 100% making the playoffs. I gotta have. So we have like 1, 2. Okay, I gotta throw another Eastern Conference team in here, right? Or I might even need to throw in 2 because we have 1, 2. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I gotta figure out which one of these teams is making the playing tournament. It's gotta be the Clippers, right? It's got to be the Clippers. Just with no Kawhi Leonard, I would take Dallas and Denver over them. So who do I think will be the best team out of the Knicks, Celtics, Pacers, and Bulls? It's tough. It really is. And I can only have 4 teams in here, and I have 6. So I have to drop one and raise one. So these are my 4 like Western Conference playing teams. If I had to say Portland would be the best, then the Clippers, and maybe Memphis and New Orleans miss out. I would say maybe that's how it goes, like 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. I think I'm going to drop, it's between Washington or Charlotte. I think I'm going to drop Charlotte. Because, like, the best player in the series is definitely Bradley Beal. And then next up, you have, like, LaMelo and Gordon Hayward. And then you got Dinwiddie with the ACL. You know what? I think there might be more. But the Wizards are deep with, like, Montrezl Harrell and KCP, Kuzma, Kispert, Hashimura, Dia. Maybe a little bit more deep, but they added some big men. I don't know. I'm going to lower the Wizards. Like, the chance of making the play-in, but they're definitely by far the best team here. And then I'd probably put, like, Sacramento maybe next up. Like, those 2 teams have the best chance out of any of these in their conference. So I've dropped 1 and left Charlotte in there that could get the 10th seed. Now, who do I, like, put up to the 6? I kind of want, like, I don't think I'm doing Boston. There's no shot I do Boston, actually. I think they'll be, like, 7. Chicago, New York, or Indiana. I'm going to give it to my Knicks. I wanted to do Indiana, but the Knicks were the best out of all those teams last year, and they still got a little bit better, adding Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. So I'm going to give that to the Knicks just because of their success last year. And out of all 4 of those teams, who's got the best coach? It's probably the Pacers and Carlisle, and then slightly behind it's Tibbs. Bulls, Donovan's probably 3rd, and then Imo Udoka, just because he's a rookie, head coach, is at 4. So that's how it's going to be. We have our top 2 teams in each conference, and then we have like the next 2 in each conference, and then the next 2 in, and then this is the play-in tournament. Like, I think that who makes it and who doesn't, I don't think Charlotte would make it. I think Indiana would, and it really comes down between Boston or Chicago. It's going to be tough. One of these teams is going to have a disappointing year, and I think, like, if Boston, they have a disappointing year, they'll have a max slot, they'll run it back. Knicks, I think they'll run it back. I feel like if Indiana has a bad year, they're going to maybe start trading some guys away, and hopefully if Chicago has a bad year, like Zach LaVine won't leave. And then you have these 4 teams in the West, and then you have 3 of the next like guys in that could maybe make it, and then the 2 teams in each conference I think have no shot at making it. So yeah, that is me from me. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. That was really fun to do. Maybe I'll do an updated one of these before the season starts, so if you want to see that, let me know down below. But also let me know down below what you agree with, what you disagree with. I would love to hear your opinion. Who do you think would be 100% of making the playoffs between these 4 of Knicks, Indiana, Bulls, and Celtics? Maybe who doesn't make the playoffs? I would love just to see like your bottom Eastern Conference standings, because that's what I'm so curious about. And that was tough for me. It really was. So thank you all for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.